Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Self-Help Comedy Hour, the world's first self-help variety show. We unite people from the world of self-help and the world of entertainment. Tonight is no different. Come for the celebration, stay for the fear of abandonment. It's Emotional Disaster Week, and it's going to happen right after this. That's actually a fake opening. Now I'm going to do the real opening. And I'm going to do it nice and slow. We never do nothing nice and easy. We always do it nice and rough. I'm going to take the first half of the show. All right. You know why I could never do the song Proud Mary? Because it involves pride. All right. So here we are. We're coming to you live once again from the Cow's End Cafe. We are celebrity adjacent. We are not 10 feet from the Pacific Ocean. We have people around here who are on trust funds, and I want to find them out. I need a GPS to tell me where they are so I can approach them, and I can live a life on a trust fund. And that's really why I'm here. That's why I was put on this earth. You heard me right. Nothing wrong with your hearing. Okay, so we have an amazing show. I want to tell you who's here. We have three, not one, not two, but three ladies. Actually, four ladies, including myself. But three ladies who are very talented, uniquely talented. We have, coming up shortly, we have a musician, we have a singer-songwriter, and a professional clown. And her, not you. And her name is Robin Roberts. And Robin will be here very shortly. And then we have an old friend who actually does work for a living, and she does a syndicated report, film critic, very funny, comedian, and wrote a great book with a great title. She's crazy, he's a liar, now what? And it's a single girl's guide to understanding relationships? I don't. The sexes. Oh, no, I love the first half of that is unbelievable. It's fantastic. It's great. So she's got that book, and we're going to talk to her about film, we're going to talk to her about mental health, and we're going to talk to her about, and that lady today, which is a whole new show, Cecily Knobler. Cecily is here, be here shortly, and then that should be enough. But no, there's more. Dianu. There's more. A young lady, I always call her a young lady, she feels like my granddaughter, but she is one of the most unique comedic voices today. She just sold the show, an animated series, wrote a pilot, and it's in the process of being developed and worked on. She does the greatest tweets in the world. She actually has a show that's based on people's tweets called Nitwits, sketch show. And she's written for Mad TV, for Mad on Cartoon Network. And that's Amber Tozer. Amber's coming up shortly. And we're going to hear about her trail mix dream and many other things. We always play we always play a song at the top of the show for you listening at home. And this is a song that years ago I was in this relationship, and it was so long ago that the person made tapes, and they were like mixtapes. And she had great songs on there. And on the second side, I'd be driving to her house in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, in the summertime with all the windows open in the car. And this was just the first song on side two, and I think I'm going to play it for you now. Let's get into Talking Heads and She Was. Okay, that was Talking Heads and she certainly is, because tonight you're going to meet some great guests. I have to tell you, and this is good that Cecily's here, because I've had two very unique movie experiences in the past couple weeks. The first is that I go to this amazing movie night, and I can't say where it is, but what I can say is that I saw Bruce Dern's new movie with him sitting behind me. And it's a new movie called Nebraska. It's a black and white film, and he's going to win the Academy Award for it. There's no question about it. He won the Best Actor Award in Cannes this year. And it's directed by Alexander Payne. And it took Alexander Payne 10 years to make this movie. He's been wanting to do it for 10 years. First of all, it's black and white. Second of all, he insisted on having Bruce Dern as the lead. Okay, so 10 years, and at that point, he had said, he got this script, and he said, look, it's going to take me a while to make this. Let's go out and make a couple of Academy Award-winning pictures over 10 years, 3 or 4, and then we'll be able to make this. So Bruce Dern is watching this movie, and he says that he's been in the business for 56 years, and he's made a lot of movies, and that this is the first film he's ever made. And he said that Alexander Payne allows you to be completely real, and he has a crew that works with him on every film, and that has since he's been doing this, and they just let you be safe to look however the character is supposed to be, and it's not acting. They just frame you and film you, and you be that person. And he said he's never experienced that before. And then we talked about Elia Kazan for 20 minutes, because Elia Kazan was his first teacher. And so this is the kind of life that you live in L.A. You have this, and then you go to Let's Make a Deal, and you get dressed up as a stapler. This is the kind of life that you have. So that's one experience. And then the other is, last night I happened to go see my mentor, who I met on a sitcom years ago, Norman Steinberg, who wrote a couple movies. One of them was called Blazing Saddles. The other one was called My Favorite Year. And he wrote a bunch of other films, and he wrote a lot of TV. So last night we screened My Favorite Year with the cast. So we had Lainie Kazan and Richard Benjamin, and Michael Gruskoff, the producer, also produced Young Frankenstein. And I can't even tell you how amazing this was. You're seeing this film, which I've seen a million times, which has heart, it has emotion, and it has comedy. Two of my favorite things, and really why I'm doing this show. The union of humor and emotion, which, as I've said, make a very bad MASH word. It's humotion, and it's not good. It's not good. It's bad. So, at any rate, I'm watching Norman and Richard Benjamin telling stories about Peter O'Toole and about why he took the part over Albert Finney and all the things that had happened to them on this picture. And that is a movie, if you get a chance, watch My Favorite Year, because it has great drama, which a lot of comedies that are that funny, they do not have that. They do not risk that. But Norman did, and he wrote very personally, and also about the Your Show of Shows group. So My Favorite Year, that was my second experience with the movies. And then you have a job situation, because when you're in L.A., which I think that there's a new definition of insanity, which is living in L.A., being in show business, and expecting a different result. It is the new insanity. And you lose perspective on things. And years ago, when I first came here, there was an agency that got you jobs, and they were very unusual jobs. You would go in, and there'd be a job as a grave digger. You'd get you do it for a day. You'd dig like half a hole, then you go home. And then there was another job, and one of the jobs I had was I was a pretend dater. I was paid to go on dates with people who were scared of dating, scared to death of dating, and I was given a stipend, and I would sit across from people and try to calm them down over dinner. I think another word for this is Jew. But I was a pretend dater, and it was the agency, I think, was called the Job Factory. And this is many years ago. I think you remember. You probably worked for them. All right, we'll talk about that. I mean, it was a great place. It was a very unique place. At any rate, I want to talk just for a second about jobs. I've had a lot of very strange, unusual jobs. I've had some great jobs. But the thing is that when you're looking for a job, what happens is the exact opposite of what's supposed to happen. What you could think of is what do I love to do and what am I good at? You start there. And then you think, if I really want to get a job, why am I closing down? Why don't I open up and think about the possibilities and think about really what I'm good at and go with that? Why don't I start from there? But that's not what I do. What I do is I say, you'll never work in this town again out loud to myself during the interview. And I do those kind of things, and I do them internally. And also, if you're an actor, there are some people that are actors that are not very good at auditioning. And just by a stroke of right place, right time, like Shirley Knight is a friend of mine, and she's a great actress. She was in As Good as It Gets, and she won the Academy Award opposite Paul Newman many years ago. But she was not a very good auditioner. And because she had so much talent, but because she got into the business at a time when one thing just led to another, she was able to continue and work and do her craft. But she admitted to me, she said, I'm not the greatest auditioner. I heard the other day about a person who is a casting director. This is fascinating to me. And she's also a Reiki expert. She works in Reiki relaxing people. She couples the relaxation techniques with working with actors and casting them. This woman should be a billionaire. Because if you're relaxed and you have somebody who knows how to help you do that in an audition, you're the greatest actor in the world. That's all it is. It's not. There's no magic. There's just being present and relaxing. I remember Janine Garofalo always used to say this to me. She used to say, Ed, why don't you just read the part the way you talk? Why don't you try that? And it sounded great to me. And then I get into the room and my heart started beating fast. And I started becoming a crazy person. Which if you're not going up for Cuckoo's Nest, then you don't get it. At any rate, it is very interesting to breathe, and which I haven't done since we've started the show. But why start now? No, I'm actually going to start. And you know, when you breathe in, you say the word in to yourself. And when you breathe out, you say the word out internally, right? So we'll do a couple. There aren't a lot of hosts who would take those risks. But I don't know where you are listening to this right now. You could be listening on a desktop behind an overdue gas bill. You could be listening on a fudgesicle. You could be listening on a cell phone, or you could be on a yacht. I don't know where you are, but we're glad that you're here, and thank you for tuning in. And we have a great show for you. And I usually do self-help shout-outs, emotional shout-outs, and I just want to do two. And I want to say, if you're beating yourself up even now, welcome aboard. There's always a seat for you. And if you're in such limbo in your life that every time you walk into a room, this music is playing, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, 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 bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, welcome. There's always a place for you right here. All right, so let's get the show rolling right now. Sorry. With a young lady who has done a lot of different kinds of things in entertainment. She's a singer-songwriter. She studied in the Warner Brothers sitcom writing program, which I have to ask her about. And she does something else that's pretty unique. She is a professional clown. And I say that with all due respect. Please welcome Robin Roberts. Robin. Robin, I'm not going to pretend that the room is filled with people, but I will tell you that the room is alive with electricity because there's a lot of things plugged in right now. And first of all, thanks for coming. I mean, I'm very, very happy to meet you.
The whole environment is so cool. I love being here. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. And you, let's see. Now the first thing is, I was listening to your music, and I can't get by this, and most people, you actually have performed as a clown, and you've done it for years.
Yes.
It's one thing that you do.
It's my day job.
Okay, it's your day job. So let me ask you, how does this change your life? Does it change your life in any way? Are you literally able to turn a persona on and off, or how does it go?
Well, I'm a comedian. I'm a singer-songwriter, but I'm a comedian. So I consider it an extension of that same muscle. It's a flexing of the same muscle. That's why it fits into my life so well, because right. It's showtime. Every time I go to a party, I have to be my best self. I'm smiling, I'm meeting and greeting, I'm cracking the kids up.
Now, you love kids, obviously, but I mean, have you had experiences where you go there and it's just not working?
When I first started and I didn't have any chops,
Right.
I would get overwhelmed and I would get resentful because parents, once I arrive, parents are pretty useless. They just stay in the background and really it's all me. And I didn't know that that's what the task entailed when I first started doing it. I thought they would help me control the children. So it was overwhelming at first, and then I got better at it, and then I changed my attitude, and now I just take responsibility for everything, and rarely am I not good, because I love my job, and I finally mastered it, and it's just all fun, and it's all great, really.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's a wonderful thing. Because you're getting kids. Excuse me. Let me explain this. At the Cow's End, we have a special segment. It's an ongoing segment, and it's called Who's Coming In? And what happens is I click a thing in my pocket, a garage door goes up, and then when the door comes down, a celebrity is trapped in the garage.
Oh.
We don't know who it is. It's a mystery, and we find out at the end.
Uh-huh.
But that's what that noise is.
Oh, very interesting. Yes.
I'm sorry, but so now you have to tell me. So you do this work, and you come in full makeup.
No, see,
You do
this
not.
is the thing. I think people are getting a picture in their head of like Fizbo the clown. They reran The Modern Family where Cam and his partner with the wigs and the noses and the slapstick. It's really nothing like that.
Right.
When people ask me, did you go to clown college? I say, you know what? I'm a birthday party clown. I just come in and put on a show for little kids, and it's all fun. And over the year, when I first started, because the person that gave me my first job, my first clown pimp that brought me into the life,
Yeah.
Alice the clown, she said, she has a little high voice. She's still working, by the way. She said, you should come and see what I do. You might be good at this, something like that. So I went to observe. I audited Alice's party.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this looks kind of fun. She wore whiteface, so I started out wearing whiteface. But I never wore a costume that I didn't put together myself. I never went to the store and said, give me the thing with the baggy thing and the pom-poms and the hat with the point. I wore my grandfather's fedora with flowers on it that I decorated. I wore suspenders and, some pants from the thrift store that I put patches on. It was my own interpretation, a little bow tie, a little men's shirt, And it's gotten much classier and much more beautiful over the years. But I did wear whiteface, and then gradually I just let that go. And then I would paint my face with 2 hearts on my cheeks and some glitter and a red thing, a round circle on my nose. And then I just, you know what? In the last year, I just dropped all of that. And because the hat that I wear now is so fantastic that I made myself, there's no question that I'm the clown. I don't need all that stuff. I put
Right.
the hat on, I wear my hair in braids, and then whatever I'm wearing, which is all great because I design my own costumes with the stuff from the thrift stores. And I decorate them, and I love them. I walk in, I feel like $1,000,000. I'm a rock star. I look hot. I get hit on as a clown. See, that's how I measure it.
Yeah, that's a whole different world.
Yeah.
And I imagine that other clowns would resent that.
Well, too bad for them.
Yeah, that's their problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pal.
Yeah.
I imagine I have this image of you sitting amongst this group and them looking at you and sort of like, it's like, what are you doing? What are you trying to do?
You mean the other clowns?
Yeah, the other clowns.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I have to say.
You're not coming in the same car with them.
No.
No.
I'm like the hot clown, but with, very tasteful. I don't dress hot. I just, I'm in great shape, so I show my legs. I have skirts, and I just, and there's no reason why you can't look pretty and
Right.
do that job. So, but I have to say, one time there was a meeting of all the clowns. The clowns were going to go on strike. We met at the old spaghetti factory on Hollywood Boulevard, and they had a meeting about raising our prices because we hadn't raised them in a really long time. And everybody was so scared that we were not going to get hired. And I looked at them all like, what are you, nuts? This is all the clowns. If they don't hire us, they're not going to have any clowns. I thought they were all a bunch of idiots. I was like the Norma Ray of the clowns. And I realized the depths of their low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And that's when I really felt like I had an angle on it, because I did not feel that way about myself. I just knew it would be okay.
It's fantastic. And when you we'll talk about this, but there was a particular song that I thought was great because just like what you're saying, this is not your usual traditional song that you would think about that field. It's not a traditional clown song. It's not a make 'em laugh song.
No.
Does it need any special setup? Should I bring? Should I be playing something? No.
You have a kazoo.
I don't have a kazoo, and I don't have an outfit. I'm wearing a dashiki from 1948. I don't know if that means anything. And I'm dressed like Rosie Greer.
There you go.
I don't use any references after 1971. Everything's done.
He used to knit.
I know.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, what a life he had. He was an amazing guy,
was
Rosie Greer.
amazing.
Anyway, wherever you are, Rosie, you're wonderful.
Named after President Roosevelt, I would imagine.
That's a good thought.
Well, yeah.
I guess he
because-
probably was.
Yeah, and then everybody named their kids Eleanor. All the liberals that had kids in the 40s and 50s named, they're Roosevelt.
That was a very popular name.
Yeah, probably just African Americans.
Not like Apple or Shambhala, which is very popular now. Anyway, well, this song is great. I love this, and without any further ado, Robin Roberts singing a wonderful song.
Hire me for your kid's birthday party. I'll be there with my bag of tricks. Don't ask me to help with the piñata, 'cause I've been hit with 100 sticks. Don't talk during my magic show. There's always someone who heckles. I'd like to tell him where to go, but he's 5, has red hair and freckles. And I'm a clown. I get around. I'm a clown. I go from town to town. You think your kid's so special? Well, she's special for an hour. If you want her special longer, that'll be another $50. Oh, don't try to pay with a check, 'cause I've been down that road before. If you offer me Hawaiian punch, I might stay a few minutes more. And I'm a clown. I get around. I'm a clown. I go from town to town. I've had 10,000 hot dogs and 10,000 pieces of cake. You'll remember me for years to come. I forget you when I'm out the gate. Magic, hokey pokey, balloon animals, I leave you these memories to share. I go home alone, leave the nose on, watch Nightline in my underwear. And I'm a clown! My pain is real. I'm a clown. I clown for Tatum O'Neal. I'm a clown. I accept tips. Think about it next time. I'm a clown. I even clown for the Crips. I'm a clown. I may be coming to your town.
Robin Roberts, I'm a clown.
Thank you.
All right, so there's that part of your life, certainly.
I'm Rocky the Clown, by the way, Rockie. Please Google me. Please call me for your party.
I would so much rather have you at a party than have like some of the theme parties that kids have. Like my daughter is never going to have a Breaking Bad theme birthday. That's not something that kids should have. But now, the other thing is you have been doing stand-up for a long time. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I love is that you did a show for about 10 years in L.A. that you produced yourself.
That's right.
Comedy Schmomedy, right?
Comedy Schmomedy.
The thing that I love about that is that when people do stand-up, they think that they have to be sanctioned by the Improv or the Comedy Store, that's the only, or they have to do some kind of alternative scene or uncabaret, whatever it is. And really, you're the show. And you put on the show wherever you want to go, and you make the show. And that's the most important ingredient is you. It's not the venue.
That's right.
So I love that. I love that about you.
Do you want me to comment on that?
No.
Okay. The reason why I started my own show was because the club system, which I still have angst about not being enmeshed in it, was so oppressive and such a hard role for me to take as a woman, especially. And I used to hang around at the Comedy Store every night till closing, and I was writing jokes and selling them to comics, and I was like one of the only girls doing that in the 80s, in the heyday. And I'm still friends with Jeff Altman. I sold him material. I wrote sketches for him on Premiere Radio, and I had these, and I saw and met everybody, and it was great. And I always say, as much as I had that place intimidated me, when I was just hanging around and watching, the men all treated me wonderfully well. It was the road that killed me. Anyway, so the club system, I was having trouble breaking into it, and I wanted stage time.
Right.
So when you have your own show, you can have as much stage time as you want. I would do a whole free-form opening piece and premiere new songs and talk about my day, and like you opened this show, you were just doing off the top of your head, and it was so interesting to me, and that would be my format. And then all kinds of famous people were in my show. I had Nora Dunn in my show a couple times. In the first venue, it was so beautiful. It was this bookstore, not like the bookstores now. It was this gorgeous place. It was called Book Grinders.
Oh, yeah.
And the show was called Comedy by the Book. I made that up. And then when we moved it, when that place closed, because I've closed, and every coffee house has gone out of business that I've had shows in. Twice. Some of them, like Jennifer's, coffee and, okay.
Oh, my God, that was you? You closed that
Well,
thing?
the first one went under, and, okay.
All right.
I just want to drop some names. Larry David needed stage time because he was wanting to do a special, and he needed to work in someplace private. And Jeff Garland came and scouted the place out and said, Larry, I'd like to come and do your place. I said, yeah. So he did my show, and all kinds of people that are famous now. Andy Kindler, Maria Bamford, I booked her all the time. And mainly I just got to have 20 minutes at the top, and then as much as I wanted in between. It was my show.
Yeah.
And I got lots of reviews. I solicited. I was a press hound. I did all my own press releases. I got Picks of the Week in the LA Weekly like 4 times, and Best Bet in the LA Times. And I put on a benefit for Children of the Night, and Jeff Altman was the headliner, and it was in all the papers. I got it in all the papers.
Well, I think it's an important thing for a performer to not wait for people to tell you to perform. You're a performer. That's how you live your life, and that's what you do. My family actually has told me no, but I don't need it. I don't need it. At any rate, I also wanted to touch on one thing, and then we're gonna bring up our next case. But this is fascinating to me. When a person learns stand-up, they usually learn it in the Mecca of comedy, and the Mecca of comedy, of course, is the Isle of Malta. Tell us about your experience in the Isle of Malta doing stand-up comedy.
I spent a month on the island of Malta teaching stand-up comedy to the Maltese people.
Not a falcon. You're not talking about a Maltese falcon.
No, and
You're
they're sick of that joke. That doesn't,
That doesn't play?
nothing.
That's a stock joke in Malta.
Don't try it.
Yeah.
They've heard it 100 billion times.
100 times.
I'll tell you how it happens.
Okay.
Briefly, I'll try to condense it. There's a lot of film production, American film production on Malta. Popeye was made on Malta with Robin Williams.
I don't even know what Malta is.
Okay.
To me, it's a cereal. It's a hot cereal.
I usually hold I have a song about it in my act, and I usually hold this map that I made. So here's how it is. Here's Italy, and here's Sicily, and here's the Mediterranean, and here's North Africa.
Yeah.
And right in the middle is Malta, and it's 4 islands, one big one and a bunch of 3 little ones. It's an archipelago. And it was a strategic refueling port for Allied ships during World War II, and it's helped save the world. I mean, it got cited by the British government for heroism because it was aligned with the Allies, and they could get supplies and stuff. They got bombed all the time. They couldn't get their own food, and everybody smokes because that's how they survived World War II. So it's a noble little country. And they filmed Popeye there. They filmed Cutthroat Island there. They filmed Gladiator there. This Captain Phillips was filmed off the coast of Malta. So Rennie Harlan was directing his wife Gina Davis in Cutthroat Island, which I'm one of the 3 people that saw that movie and really liked it. And they were using the Maltese people to do bit parts and extras, and they weren't hitting their marks, and they really didn't know what they were doing. And he said somebody should open an acting school for these people and coach them. And so this woman took that dare and opened an acting school. Now my friend was doing still photography for that movie, and he sort of took it upon himself, or maybe they hired him, to scout teachers to go to Malta and teach these people stuff. And he called me up one day. He said, "What can you teach?" And I said, "Well, I can teach stand-up comedy. Do they have any comedy clubs?" And he said, "No." I said, "Is there any stand-up comedy in Malta?" He said, "No." I said, okay, sign me up. Why not? It'll help them in their auditions. You learn some stand-up, and it loosens you up, just like improv is good for that. So why not stand-up?
Sure.
So I flew out there. I stayed in a hotel, and every day I taught classes. And in the end, we put on the first stand-up comedy show in Malta's 5,000-year history, which I hosted. I felt like Margaret Mead.
That's fantastic. It's Margaret Mead hosting Evening at the Improv. That's what it is. Bud Friedman is there. He has a monocle, and they're going to bring up Willie Tyler and Les. I don't know what they're going to do. But so now you teach these things in Malta. But is it like Albert Brooks School for Professional Comedians? Is it like today they're learning the spit take?
No. It was great. These people, first of all, are naturally funny. Everybody is funny in Malta. These people are lively. They've endured a lot. They've been conquered by everyone. You see where it's an island nation, so they've got fortresses everywhere, and the Phoenicians conquered. I don't know. You got to look it up. But everybody. So it has invaded them and taken their stuff. So they're like, like the Jews have been tortured and put down for so long, or the blacks. Naturally funny. There's just something in us. There's something in the Maltese. So the guy, the desk clerk at the hotel was funny. Everyone was funny. So it wasn't hard to get it out of them. And the way I coached them was, talk about your life. What do you do? So a lot of them were actors. They were in school and college to learn acting, drama majors, and they were funny. And they had interesting stuff, and they were so fresh that they were a lot funnier than the open micers in LA, because it was all new to them, and they were so interested. And
wow,
great stuff. One woman was a stewardess, and one guy was like Robin Williams. He did characters. He was just born that way.
And this is on the island of Malta.
Malta.
Okay, so the next time you go to Malta, the next time you want to have a really interesting comedy experience, take your family, head out to Malta. And drop, grab a drink at the Malta Punchline, and you're gonna see something. It'll be Giggles in Malta, or Yuck Yucks has a Malta club now. But anyway, that's fascinating. That's fascinating.
Thanks.
Well, you're a very interesting person.
Thank you.
Well, I thank you for being here, and tell us where we can find out about you. Where do we find out about your performances and what you do and where you are?
You can look me up on YouTube at youtube.com/Comedy Schmomedy. That's spelled SCHMOMEDY. Comedy Schmomedy, one word. And there's the Malta song is there.
The Malta song. Mm-hmm.
And all these other songs and stuff. And some Rick Dees stuff. And then I'll be at the Ice House, second stage, on the Sunday. I think it's the 17th. I wrote it on a piece of paper because I'll be clowning soon. Let me read you the date for that.
If you're in the area, if you're in LA, and you want to see a great show,
November 17th, Sunday at the Ice House, second stage. I know this goes everywhere. They're all people.
Listen, people listen to this show. I swear to God, this
Really?
at one time was the #1 podcast in South Africa.
Oh,
I'm not
wow.
kidding. I'm not kidding. It was the #1 podcast in South
They
Africa.
have good taste. They like that guy Rodriguez. Remember?
I don't. You know
Sugar
what?
Man?
You never know what's
You
going to happen.
never know.
Now I have to, and so, really, I'm
Yeah.
not kidding. So thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here, Robin Roberts. For
Yay!
God's sakes.
Thank you.
For God's sakes.
Thank you.
Wow. And now I have to explain something to the people listening. This room was once owned by Stanley Kubrick. It was what he inspired him for Clockwork Orange. And then it was Eyes Wide Shut. There were many scenes that were shot. The room, it has a low ceiling and it has a temperature thing. The temperature gauge right now is 80 trillion degrees Kelvin right now. It's not even on the centigrade scale or the Celsius scale. So it's very warm. So we're going to keep the show moving along, and we may even open that door to get some air, get some cross air, because I don't want people to pass out. I don't want to do a scene from Streetcar. I will if I have to. Our next guest is an old friend who is a film critic, seasoned film critic, comedian, writer of books, fantastic, Cecily Knobler. Timing her entrance.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Is this where I'm supposed to be? I'm kind of a low talker.
Yeah, let me get you over there. And
Hello.
Hey, how are
Hello.
you? That's
Is that nice?
This is like breakfast for Irene and Roger.
This feels right.
Friends are coming in from America. Well, now, first of all, we always talk about movies because you have been doing this thing for a long time,
Right.
where you do a report
Yes.
and you review film.
Yeah,
But you do it in an interesting way.
I review movies for a bunch of radio stations across the country.
Right.
That's pretty much it. Also, I've been in a deep, dark depression for the last 17 years. So, like, when I hear those stories of all those things, and there's Malta, and there's clowns and stuff, I don't have interesting stories. I just want you to know that off the bat.
You don't have Malta.
I don't have Malta. I was a mime in high school. I think
Is that
I told
true?
you that, right? Yes.
No, you have not
There
told
was
me
a
that.
mime troupe, and we had to audition, and I auditioned, and I got in, and I was a mime.
What was your specialty? Were you walking against the wind, or were you in a box?
I was in a box, which I've stayed in.
Uh-huh.
But good at space work, I guess. I just was better than I wanted to be, so I was...
Oh, you were so much better. See, this was my problem. In improv, greatest verbal, greatest justifier, but I would be ironing and then I would answer the phone.
Right. Yeah, no, you forget. Sometimes you forget.
Constantly ironing, always answering the
Yeah,
phone.
yeah,
Why is your iron ringing? Well, maybe because it's a very unique iron.
You
It
don't
was
need to
me.
answer to anybody else.
I did. I
This
always
is-
justify. I was
Yeah.
the justifier, which is what I am in my life.
Yeah.
I'm the justifier. Which is my new show on CBS. Watch it. I used to be the equalizer. Now I'm the justifier. All right. So, film.
Yes.
Do you remember the first film that you were ever aware of as
Aware
a
of?
kid? Do you remember what it was?
Well, not the first film I went to or was aware of.
Well, that you maybe that made an impression on you.
Well, my parents took me to see Blues Brothers when I was, I think, about 6
yeah,
or 7.
In those days, there was no appropriate.
There's no appropriate in my family, so it's not a matter of those days. Or it was just sort of like my family went to the movies. That's what we did.
Yeah.
And we just came along, and it didn't matter. And I didn't even find, to this day, I look back and it doesn't seem that inappropriate, right? It's a little
Right,
cocaine.
it's a Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really, but that was the first time that I laughed, and I probably didn't get most of the jokes, but they had on little sunglasses and hats, and that was funny to me. So I remember that.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, so you go to that now. We've talked before about moments and about particularly mental health in film. And these characters, because that's the story of any character, is
Yeah.
overcoming. There's an obstacle and they're overcoming it. They're working through it. But unforgettable film moments for you that you can't shake it.
Right.
You can't forget it. You don't know why. And you do know why. You do know what it is.
Well, those moments for me are moments that justify my own insanity.
Right.
So, like, the first one that comes to mind, and I've talked to you about this, is my favorite movie of all time is Broadcast News. So the moment when Holly Hunter is approached by her boss, and he says, "It must be nice to think you're the smartest person in the room," that moment, and she says, "No, it's awful." That. And not that I think I'm that, but it was just like she was so crazy and neurotic and anxious, and I realized, oh, that's okay. Like, she's the star of this movie, and she's who you're rooting for, and she's crazy, and that's cool. And I love that,
Right.
Because you don't think of that, and I don't know.
It makes it okay.
James L. Brooks has a great way of making it okay.
Makes it okay.
Woody Allen makes it okay.
Yeah, Woody Allen for me was when I was like 16, I think, or 17, was Annie Hall.
Oh yeah.
And nobody knew what it was.
Right.
And so here was the lead of a movie.
Yeah.
And he was being real and neurotic.
Right.
And crazy.
Yeah.
And really, and really in his head and really crazy, but also being real.
Right.
With it. And it just had never been done.
Annie Hall's such a good example too, because growing up as a Jew in Waco, Texas.
Well, right there you have it.
Yeah, we didn't have I didn't have people I could look to and go, oh, they're like me. That's
The
like
Waco
me.
is like the Malta of Texas.
And miming in Waco is just a whole different thing.
Wow, you're out
There's
there.
a thing that, yeah.
Waco.
But yeah, and the scene where Diane Keaton orders a sandwich on white bread with
Right,
mayo.
right.
And it was like, oh yeah, I never could put my finger on why that felt wrong when people did that. And
Yeah.
I still can't. But Woody made it okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your garage door, that little sound.
No,
Is
there's
that-
also a troupe of daredevils who
Uh-huh.
come in. Evil Knievel's offspring.
It's part
live
of the
around
show?
here. Yeah, it's
Just
part
like
of the
at
show.
this
No,
time?
everything's part of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's fascinating. Yeah, that's really interesting. A Waco. You're growing up in Waco, and
Yeah.
your dad is in radio.
Yes.
See, I don't get all of that.
Well, you're up and down the dial. So we weren't just in Waco. I mean, I was born in Austin, lived in Dallas.
Right.
So we were, pretty much everywhere. You stay in radio at a gig for like 2 years if you're lucky, and then you move to the next one.
Yeah.
know,
Well, did that capture you as a kid? I mean, you were aware of him doing radio, and it was like, wow, that's really cool.
No, I never wanted to do that. You just sort of fall back. It's like it's if you had a shoe shine business, I'm sure I'd be a shoe shiner, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Nothing wrong with shoe
Right,
shining,
right.
but it's just sort of like, oh, all right, nothing else worked out.
So you review these movies now. So you have to go to screenings.
Yes.
And you go to and screenings are not at 5. They're not at 7:00 at night.
Sometimes.
They are.
Sometimes.
But a lot of them are during the day.
Sometimes during the day. Sometimes they kind of vary them.
Well, what do? You go in and you have. We talked about this before, but you have a light on your pen.
No.
No, you don't
I don't
have
do
that?
that. I can't. I won't sit near anyone who will do that, and that
There
means
are critics
I can't.
that do that.
Yes.
What do? They have.
They have like sometimes they even have these little flashlight. They have like a visor.
There's a
I've seen
visor.
one with a visor and a little flashlight, and then they write their little notes. So you're like, really?
Yeah.
It's grown-ups too. It's an Adam Sandler. Like what? How many? What notes do you need for this?
I have to write with my visor.
They have little visors. So yeah, no, it's upsetting. Critics they can be kind of we're a mean bunch.
Yeah.
We're
and how do you
grouchy.
stay fresh? Because you see a lot of movies.
I don't really. I mean, I guess I get a little jaded sometimes. I get a little cynical with them. But this is a good time of year. We're in Oscar season.
Right.
So this is when I get to see like the good stuff.
It's coming now.
It's coming now. It started. I think it started.
Okay, so, I mean, are there movies? Well, I have to go back.
Okay.
Are there movies that are medicinal? That you see, like if you feel depressed, or if you feel sick, or if there's something that's not going on, and you say, okay, I know what it is. You have like a medicine cabinet that's filled with movies.
Right.
And you go and it's like, okay, I'm depressed. I think it's going to be What's Up, Doc?
Right.
I think it's going to be...
For me, it's like
maybe
I
Young
would say
Frankenstein.
breakfast at Tiffany's, and I know that that's not funny, but there's something so soothing to me about that movie
Yeah.
because it's dark. I mean, people don't think it's just so dark and beautiful, and if I'm down, it makes me feel like, I could just get a cat and like get a ukulele, and I'll be fine.
You get a cat and a ukulele.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a dog person, but if that's what it takes, I'll do it.
It's fine for her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
And she's
her.
got George Papard.
Yeah.
She's got Mickey Rooney with the
That
biggest
was
slur in the
uncomfortable.
world.
The Mickey Rooney thing.
The
was
Mickey
really,
Rooney slur hunk? Is that what you're talking about? Where he's supposed to be
Sure.
Asian?
Yeah.
And he's wearing some kind of a fez?
He's wearing that and the glasses with the eyes. I mean, that's
Somewhere there's a casting director who's saying, fine, just shoot it.
Do you know, I don't know if you remember the movie 16 Candles, but the role of Long Duck Dong was originally going to be Mickey Rooney in those glasses. Did you know that?
God.
Not really.
That would have been perfect
That was-
casting. That would have been perfect
Just in
casting.
any movie where there's Asian.
Long
Miss
Duck Dong.
Saigon,
Yeah.
he was going to originally play the lead in Miss Saigon.
Helicopter comes down, he gets out, forgets his glasses, goes back, gets them, and then comes out again.
And then gets the teeth.
And
He
gets the
forgot
teeth. Wait a minute.
teeth.
Hold on.
Hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
There's more.
That's right.
The funny story about Breakfast at Tiffany's,
Mm-hmm.
two really crazy things. There's a guy named Dick Shepard, and he produced the movie. And he used to be an agent. And I went into his office one day, and we started talking about it. And he said, well, I looked after Grace Kelly. I looked after Audrey.
What does that mean? What do you
That's
mean?
how they talked when they were
Looked after,
agents.
like-
I looked after them.
Okay.
I made
Interesting.
sure they were okay.
Okay.
So he's got a music box on his desk. And the music box was given to him by Audrey Hepburn. And it plays Moon River.
Of course it does.
He opens the box and he starts telling me incredible stories about Breakfast at Tiffany's and other movies that he had done. And the music box keeps playing the song Moon River. And then it slows down, it starts to stop. And then, like every 4 seconds, a note plays. So it keeps playing like one note, like it's almost haunted,
Ooh.
for like a half hour.
Is that
And-
normal for a music box?
It's
or
not.
Wow.
And it was very strange. And it was just this moon. The other thing is that he told me that they loved everything about the movie except the song.
Except that song.
They wanted to cut the song.
What did they want something else?
They just didn't like it. They didn't like the song.
They wanted Wang Chung, everybody.
They
Wang
wanted a
Chung.
soundtrack. They wanted the big chill.
Yeah.
They wanted
I think
Larry
it was
Kasdan.
probably a little before the Wang Chung.
Yeah, maybe
song.
well, big
But
chill.
yeah,
That's
big
as
chill.
close as I can get.
Yeah.
But anyway, now
That's interesting.
Now, so movies is medicine. Now, movie moments. because we say Holly Hunter.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
love-
great because it's a comedy and it's a drama and it has great dramatic moments.
And it's smart. It's
very
just,
smart.
to me, it was just smart. It inspired me to go to DC for college. I wanted to go into broadcast news. My dad would not allow me to go into anything that had to do with broadcast or TV or radio. He said,
Wow.
I won't pay for school if you do that.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was like, really? So I could major in theater? That you'd rather? You'd want me to? And he said, whatever you want to do, but just not that. So I couldn't do it.
Wow.
But that's how inspiring that movie is to me. Like, it got me to DC. I know it's so weird,
Amazing.
but.
No,
yeah.
I mean, this is what movies are supposed
Yeah.
to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and for funny, is there a moment or is there a
Das
scene?
Boot, I would say. Oh, you mean in that?
No, that's a
Like,
great
I mean, it's
comedy.
funny.
It was meant to be a
It's
comedy.
funny, ha ha. Like, it's not.
It's not funny. Hoo
It's
hoo.
not.
And it's funny underwater. It's one of the best underwater comedies.
Like my funny go-to.
Yeah,
what
your
would
funny
be my
go-to.
funny go-to?
Yeah.
I mean, anything Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
I would go even Modern Romance, which you cannot
Well,
find on DVD.
Okay, that's true. And because the studio did something, I don't know what it was,
What
but
happened?
but I don't know what happened. There was some kind of a dispute, something. They didn't put it out on DVD. Okay, so Modern Romance, this is a movie that you don't take a date to.
Right. Yes.
I
yeah.
took dates to see Modern Romance. I
then
took
she was-
all the wrong movies. She's out of my life. All the wrong movies. Modern Romance, uncomfortable, squeamish.
Yeah.
And
But
they come to that
brilliant.
movie. I took people to see, like my family would go see Ordinary People. We saw Ordinary People and Dad with Jack Lemmon.
Well, it's a
We saw-
feel-good Ordinary People.
No,
isn't
but it was like, well, our family, I guess, is okay compared
Yeah.
to this family.
Yeah.
Calvin, wear the blue shoes and the other suit.
Well, that's why we watch Hoarders. I mean, that's why I watch Hoarders, to feel a little better about your life. So maybe that was Ordinary People for you.
I guess, but you know. In terms of endearment, I took a date to that, and I was crying my eyes out.
That's a good one, I think, to take a date to, though. 'Cause
You would
then-
think.
Yeah, no.
And I look over, and the woman looks at me, and she says, "Do you want to call a therapist?"
No.
She did.
Because you were just crying so hard.
Yeah, and that woman today
Is Madeline Albright.
Is Madeline Albright. that's part of the new show called That Woman Today.
That's right. We're working on this.
That's going to be a show, a sitcom.
We have it copywritten or copyrighted?
Copywrote.
This is one of those things where it's copywritten.
It's copywritten.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now, what have you got coming up? I mean, your favorite crazy movie, your favorite, like, I'm a crazy character and I'm going to overcome, everybody hates me and I'm crazy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about everybody hates me, but Eternal Sunshine. We talked about that a little bit too.
Oh, God.
Because again, I mean, Jim Carrey played a severely depressed guy, and then
Yeah.
you had Kate Winslet, who was a little nuts. So I love, because that's one of those where you're like, well, what if that gives you this kind of, I don't know. It
Brilliant.
makes you think. Charlie Kaufman, not always, but in that one, I think. he
Well,
just
that and
nailed it.
adaptation, brilliant
Adaptation.
concept. So brilliant, the concept of that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I just thought, I mean, for that one, and I love, you're talking about movie moments, but I love the end where they've erased their memory and they've re-met. They're going to come together. Fate's going to bring them together, even though they erased all their love and everything they had together.
Right.
They come back and they say, well, I get bored easily. You're not going to like me in like 3 months. And they both just say, okay, let's do it. Like, I
Let's
love
do it
that
anyway.
moment. Yeah.
Well,
just-
that's a great optimistic moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that it always, the love lasts forever.
or
no
you just,
matter
or
what.
not, and you try again, or you don't.
try
But like,
again.
you're willing to go round again, even though they're nuts.
I like that.
It's actually a really bad message. You know what? If you're
It
in
doesn't
a
work.
bad relationship, stay forever is what I'm saying.
Don't change it.
Don't ever.
Don't
Yeah.
change yourself.
Don't change yourself.
Don't grow.
Don't grow.
Yeah.
Just kind of keep working at it, nagging each other, and
It's kind
eventually
of a-
you'll die.
It's kind of a documentary about American life, I think, in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah,
It really is what it is.
Kind of is.
Today I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
I got it.
And one day maybe you just get it.
I
Maybe
think
you do.
I think you get it when you stop trying, of course, but I would never do that because that would be too easy.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, now what's the the moment for me? One of the moments is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Anybody listening to this podcast right now, they're like, they just talked about broadcast news. They're going to Eternal Sunshine, and then, of course, the logical step is To Kill a Mockingbird. I'm going to kill myself right now.
Don't do it.
On the air.
Don't
No,
do it.
But so To Kill a Mockingbird is the moment, and I showed my daughter this with Scout,
Mm-hmm.
and she's in the balcony with all the people, all the black people from the town,
Right.
and he's lost the case. And he's got to go under. Gregory Peck now has to pack up, and it takes about 10 minutes, this scene. He's packing up, and he goes over to the court reporter and he says, make sure you take that down. And then he carefully packs up his briefcase and he walks under this balcony and all the black people stand up.
Right. Yeah.
And she is like devastated
Right.
that her father lost, and she's holding onto the rail. And one of the guys up there, the preacher, I think, he says, stand up, honey, your father's passing. And it just is...
They don't make them like that anymore.
It's
Like, they don't make movies like
so good.
that. Yeah, it is.
And it's you've got to. We're standing up for him because he stood up for the town. He stood up for what was right.
Right.
And you have to salute that. You have to honor that in your life. I mean, it's a great moment. Anyway, and then it's a mad, mad world. No.
Yeah.
But if you were gonna see now a romantic movie, if you were gonna see one, and it's like this is gonna be, this is the greatest love story of all time.
Okay, well, I mean, this is going to sound a little crazy, but as a child of, like, the John Hughes world,
Yeah.
for me, and what traps me in that, like, it's stuff like, don't yell at me,
Yeah.
but it's stuff like Pretty in Pink and Say Anything and all those things, because that's when you're forming, you're a teen, and you're forming, like, what you expect out of what the guy is supposed to be and what love is supposed to be.
Sure.
And, like, I don't know, for me, that's what kind of stuck. I know those aren't, like, the
Well,
the
John.
classics.
Well, John Hughes. I mean, but John, he coming of age, and John Cusack holding up the boombox.
That's my guy. Lloyd Dobler's my guy. Like, if he came down, like, if he came out of the screen, and like, that's who I'd want to hang
That's your
out
Purple
with.
Rose
That's
of Cairo person.
That's right.
Okay.
Except I would change him. I would want to change him.
How would
because-
you change
Well,
him?
I would like him to get some employment. I
Yeah.
don't need him to be like super successful or anything, but like all he did, if you look back, really, he just wanted to follow her. He didn't really have any of his own aspirations.
Very unusual for a male lead
Yeah.
in a film at that time.
She was the go-getter.
Very interesting.
She was, and he just followed. And I love that, but maybe there could be like a little bit of a balance. I would feel like if they made us Say Anything too,
Yeah.
she would resent him after he moved to Europe with her. Like she would be like, all right, maybe a bartending job or some. I don't know. The boombox is adorable,
Yeah.
but maybe something.
But they would do something like the marketing people would do, like Say Anything to a second helping. Would
Say
be
more.
The quickening
Yeah.
would be the
Yeah.
Heretic.
But
Be
I mean,
somewhere-
that's such a run. Like, and it holds up. Cameron Crowe movies hold up.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I think Almost Famous, and I think
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire. I
Jerry
think all
Maguire.
those movies.
Say Anything's my favorite. though.
Singles too.
I didn't love. For some reason, I didn't love Singles. I
Well,
don't
Singles
know
is
why.
not a great movie, but here's a great scene from Singles. It's George Cameron Scott. Who is it?
Campbell
Scott.
Yes.
Campbell Scott has Bridget Fonda, and he's over her apartment, and the floor is littered with albums.
Right.
And he's playing her his favorite music. There's something so good about that scene.
Yeah.
Anybody who if you can't share music or something, and you just hang out.
I dated a guy though, I have to say, and I do that too. I love that when you were just like, let me just play this one part, listen to this one lyric,
Yeah, yeah.
But this guy was a little obsessive, and he would say like, listen to this album by Bruce Springsteen or Rush or something. I was like, I don't
Right.
give it. Can I curse? I can't curse.
Yeah,
on
you can
it,
curse.
I? Well, I won't.
You don't give.
I just like to know that I can, but I'm not gonna because
What
I'm
a
a Waco
fantastic!
girl.
What a fantastic thing
I
that you push the envelope and then you seal
and then I
it.
pulled it. I sealed it.
You
I
seal it
mailed
shut.
it. And not only did I mail it, I put like first class postage.
Fantastic.
Is there a second class? Anyway, what was I don't even know what I was talking about.
Yeah, this guy who
Oh,
the
and
guy
he
who
would
makes
just say,
you.
oh, just listen to this thing, and then you like an hour and a half would go by, and you had to listen to this whole Rush album about dragons or whatever that's about.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, so there's a fine line between like listen to this one song, it means a lot to me, and like listen to this hour and a half plus the B-sides.
Well, you don't want to force it. Yeah, if you
Right.
force it, then it's a felony. That's crazy.
Well, it felt like
it's not
that.
good.
It's not great.
Now let's just go to you. I want to talk about your book
Yay.
because I have not read the book, and I should read the book. But the book, what a great title!
She's
right?
crazy. He's a liar.
She's crazy. He's a liar.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what single women should know about the sexes.
Publisher wrote that part. I titled it "She's Crazy, He's a Liar," and then they added on. Now,
Right.
you always have.
And
to
let
have,
me
like,
explain
guide
it
to the thingy thing. Or whatever.
parenthetically.
Yeah.
Well, now, what prompted you to write this book? And the other thing is, what what should people know?
To be honest, what
Yeah.
prompted me,
Yeah.
I'd written a novel and it failed. It didn't sell. This
Okay.
is the truth.
Okay.
And the publisher at the time read this and said, I like the way you write, but we're looking more for sort of nonfiction. So why don't you take some of these stories, take your, and just put some of them into this. So it's real story, like essays about my real crazy LA dating life, but then with some sort of self-help, tips
Yeah.
sprinkled in. And the what makes it a little different is that it's kind of coming from the angle of you know what? All right, sometimes we're a little nuts. Sometimes you guys are kind of assholes. So let's just come from it at that place and then see where we can go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of
but
just
you share real experiences.
real experiences, yeah.
And was that difficult to do?
Not at all. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed writing that.
Well, what about all right? So, what's something that you've learned? What's something that you've come through, and that's like a tool that you've used as a result of a relationship that's been
Honestly,
crazy?
I'm a bad breaker upper. I'm usually the one getting broken up with, and I don't handle it well. And I block, back in my 20s, I would block doors and, that kind of, not I'm 5'2" and small. It didn't
Right,
work.
right.
But, I learned to just let it, I know this sounds so cheesy, but just let them go. If they want to go, let them go.
Yeah.
There's no point in, figuring out why. Doesn't matter. They want to go. And usually they circle back. That's the thing, and you don't want them anymore.
Interesting.
That's the thing that I've learned. And it took a long time to stop fighting the end to something.
Right.
Really.
Right. But looking back on these things, were you happy in those? Is that why you blocked the door? Did you block the door because you were happy
There
in
were
it?
a couple that I thought I was,
Yeah.
where you're feeling so much because it's kind of new and I used to date a lot of comedians, honestly, when I was doing stand up, and that's who you met. That's who I was at the Improv and they were at the that's who you knew.
Right.
And it didn't work for me, or at least the guys that I dated, it didn't work. We got competitive and I found that they got competitive. If I would get something, they didn't
hard
seem
for
so
them.
happy.
Right.
Yeah. So that was tough.
That was
That's right.
Amber's nodding
Let me
because
hear
she's
it.
he's heard about
know?
these things.
And
Yeah.
it's such a shame because, and then it kind of makes you get competitive when you didn't even want to be.
Right. Right.
So there was a little bit of that, and then it just I don't know. But when you date the ones you like so much because they make you laugh, and then
Right.
you don't want them to leave, and it just sucks.
That's a bad mixture. That's a
Yeah,
tough mixture.
it is.
And something that you've gotten better at. So is that
Yeah.
one of the biggest things of not resisting
Yeah.
but letting go?
Letting go if it's not, not just when they decide. Sometimes I would sort of dig in and say, as I got older, I realized, yeah, I'm not happy either. They're not happy. I'm not. Let's just split ways. Let's call it a day.
Right.
Great memories. Bye. I'm gonna stalk you on Facebook for the rest of my life. That's what I do.
Okay.
That's something I do. I'll just kind of dig into their lives, but I don't have to. I can do it from afar.
You do it from afar. You don't have to
Yeah.
be entrenched in it.
Yeah.
Well, and so now there's a contentment. There's you're content or you're.
I think so.
You feel pretty good about it.
Today.
Okay.
Check in. We'll see. But yeah,
Yeah, sure.
I date people now. I find that I are a little bit more compatible in that way. They're
Right.
not just fighting every success. Well, now they don't have to worry about it. I'm just so unsuccessful that they
What?
now's a good time to go back to comics, I guess.
What is the most important? What is the most important thing for you? Is it communication or what is it?
I mean, just in any relationship or for me?
For you.
I know it's so cliche, but I got a weird sense of humor, and they have to get that, and they have to be willing to just be ridiculous.
Right.
And I mean, that's number one. And then number two, which was not the case in my 20s,
Yeah.
is they have to be freaking nice. There's got to be a nice guy. They got to be a Lloyd Dobler.
They got to be Lloyd Dobler.
Yeah,
right,
a little
right.
bit of a Lloyd.
Be kind.
Be nice.
Be a little bit kind.
Just
yeah.
be cool. Don't And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Can you
not that hard
can
to
you
find.
fight with people?
Yeah, I'm not a fighter. I mean, you mean can people fight?
Yeah, I
and
mean, can
still
you be
fun?
angry and then get
Sure.
through and communicate
should
about
be.
it and talk it out?
Yeah,
Do you do that?
Yes,
You do.
I think so.
All right, let's have a fight now.
You wanna?
No, I'm kidding.
Like
I'm
physical?
No, I'm just, I got a lot of steam.
I-
But well, that's interesting. That's it. But I would like to see that book. I think that's a really great combination. Is real life experiences and then something that you learned or something that you would do differently or some
Yeah.
choice that you would make.
Yeah,
I think
I've-
that's kind of cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a chapter called Tales from the Vault, and I just took a lot of people. I talked to my mom. I talked to a lot of people, and it's what's the one thing that you would tell people if you could go back
Yeah.
to your earlier self and tell them. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like stuff. I mean, you'll have to buy it and see. You'll
I
have
will.
to see.
I will.
You don't have to buy it. I'll bring you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's
No, so we talked about this too. What is a character like Lloyd Dobler? You'd like to bring him into your life.
Yes, I would.
What movie would you like to go into and assume and be part of that world?
I love all those English, like, oh, Mr. Darcy, oh, like,
Sure.
I guess Jane Austen, would you
Jane
say?
Austen,
Are they
yeah,
called
Pride-
Oh, Mr. Darcy movies?
It was that's what it's called.
You flatter me.
It's Pride
I
and
will
Prejudice.
meet you.
Yeah.
I'm an Anglophile, so anything that has to do with England, and especially the kind of England that would never have allowed a person like me into their world.
Right. Right.
Any club that won't have me. So
Perfect,
that's
Groucho
the
Marx.
word. Yes.
But would you go dressed in that period outfit,
I
or
think I
would you go
would.
dressed how you are?
I would corset it up.
You
Is
corset
that the
it up.
expression?
Yeah,
Corset
that's
it
what
up.
they used to say in those days.
That's right. And they had like a little hang.
Let's corset it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I love those. I love those movies. So I think that I would pop in, or maybe Gravity, float around in space for a while with Clooney.
You just float with him.
And just float around with
Yeah.
him in his jetpack. Did you see that yet? Did
I
you
haven't
see
seen it. No.
Yeah, I mean
Is it a movie that should be seen?
I think so.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
What are you looking forward to? What is the big thing?
Two things.
Yeah.
Anchorman 2. Look, I'm not I never said I was a hoity-toity
Okay. Well,
film
no,
critic.
Anchorman
I'm
too.
not
Come
kidding.
on.
I'm
yeah,
not
you
joking.
have to. No, I mean, why not? Why
I
wouldn't
love,
you?
and I should have said that with my comedies too, because Anchorman is my go-to for like real laughter.
Of course.
And the Walter Mitty remake, the Ben Stiller Walter, it's supposed to be great. It looks great to me.
Well, I love the original one.
Danny Kaye?
I love Danny Kaye.
They're remaking
Isn't
it. Ben Stiller's directing, and the buzz is great.
Who's going to be who's the lead?
He is Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller is the lead.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
or
see.
the ghost of Danny Kaye. They're gonna
If the ghost of Danny Kaye came back and he cast him, that would be great.
It looks great to me.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to look for that. No, I love that movie. Okay, good. Well, where do we find you? What should people look for?
Oh, I thought it just in a very dark apartment in Hollywood. Is that what you mean?
Yes. What is the street? No, wait.
What, the cross streets?
Where do they find you?
Okay, so I'm on Twitter at Cecily Says Stuff, which is CECILY Says Stuff.
Okay.
CecilyKnobler.com, and that I should spell that. That's CECILY KNOBLER, Knobler with a K, .com. You can actually get my book there.
Or
and
Amazon.
then- actually, I'd prefer you get it from me, because
get it
if you
from
get
you.
it directly from me, then you help.
Get it from her. Don't go to Amazon.
You can go to Amazon, but I'd rather you
Who needs those people there?
Well, the publisher went bankrupt. My publisher actually went bankrupt.
Oh.
No, it's great then. So I got
Then you
like a
get
bunch
everything.
of stuff. So yeah, basically I can just do it through that.
Good.
Or you can actually also go to She's Crazy, He's a Liar. No, do CecilyKnobler.com. It's easier.
Okay.
On Facebook, I'm on,
And where do they hear the report? And what is the name of the report?
It's called Live from Hollywood Radio.
Yeah.
And a bunch of the stations, let's see, I'm on in Austin, D.C., a bunch of stations. If you go to my website, there'll be links to some of the stations stream me live.
Okay.
But, I'm not sure exactly what those sites are right now. So there's like 14 sites, and a few of them stream me.
Great.
So,
and you
yeah.
get up late at night and
I
into
just
the
stay
early
up.
morning hours.
Yes.
You call in radio stations.
That's right. On Friday mornings and Monday mornings, I call in from 2:30 to 6
AM.
a.m.
You're up all night.
Yes.
And it's just you're on.
I'm on and
It's
saying
fantastic.
the same thing over and over again in each market. Just
Fantastic. But about film.
no, I just make that noise.
You just go, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And they go,
I don't
here
know
she
why I
is.
don't even like that.
Here's
Yeah.
that girl again.
That's right.
And that lady. We're going to do that. I'm not kidding about
You
that.
wanna do it?
Yeah, I do
Okay.
want to do it.
All right.
All right. Cecily Knobler, everybody. Come on.
Hey, from me.
Come on. So great to
you.
see you.
That's fun.
Thank you. All right. So I wanted to tell you guys that the Self-Help Comedy Hour is heard each and every Thursday and Sunday night on WreckingBallRadio.net. It's a wonderful, wonderful station. And then on iTunes, I'm only 6 shows behind. So I'm going to have a sweeps week. It's going to be Hebrew sweeps. And I'm going to do every day will be a different show, starting with Eddie Pepitone, and it'll be starting on Friday. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is an old friend who I have wallets for. And she's great. She's really a unique voice in comedy, and we're going to talk all about her latest project. All right, we'll call it that way. Amber Tozer. Amber. Wow. First of all, thank you for coming all the way across the room. That's number one. And second of all, it's great to see you.
You too.
And third of all, I'm very excited for you.
Thank you.
Because if there's anybody that's ever been, that there should be a show around about a voice. When I saw your video, I didn't know you, and I saw this video called The Urine Bomber, and it's an animated video. And in fact, I'm going to do something right now. In fact, let's play a clip from The Urine Bomber, and then we'll come back and we'll talk with Amber.
Weird stuff happens to me. I had to pee in a bag the other day because I got locked in my bedroom. Like, I woke up and I went over to my door and it wouldn't open. The door was jammed. The doorknob wouldn't even turn, so I was struggling with it for like 3 minutes. I was flipping out. I was screaming for my roommates, banging on the door. I even did a little karate. I was like, hi-ya! Sort of like Bruce Lee with a vagina. I eventually just ended up ripping the doorknob off the hinges. Then I was really screwed. So, I calmed down. I figured I'll just wait till my roommates get home. I'm not going to die. I'm in my bedroom.
Okay, so the Urine Bomber.
I was like, really?
The Urine Bomber. Everything is compressed time. It's Benjamin Button week. Now I will. All right, so your comedy, the stuff that you talk about. First of all, you're very authentic on stage, but you're also very hypothetical. A mixture, right? Wondering about stuff.
Yeah.
But being real at the same time.
I try.
Yeah.
When I first started doing comedy, I felt like I had a lot of crazy, true stories. But as I get older, I stay home a lot, so I think more. So I think my comedy, because in New York I was like drinking and partying and blah. I'd be like, and then I would just get on stage and talk about what really happened. But now that I'm in LA, I don't leave my house. So I have to think, I'm like, well, what if I was, saw an elephant on the street and animals are involved and it gets so crazy.
You have to invent it a little bit. You have to Walter Mitty it. Wow.
I think that's what happened, yeah.
Yeah, and so the Urine Bomber, is that a story that actually, of course, it had to happen to you.
Yes, I got locked in my bedroom and I had to pee in a bag.
Got locked in your bedroom, had to pee in a bag, and then something else happens.
And then I peed in a plastic bag. I put it on my windowsill to get it out of my bedroom. And it falls over into the courtyard. And the plastic bag that I peed in was a Chinese delivery bag. So it had the receipt had my name and address on it. So then I made an animated short about it. And it was just embarrassing. Yeah, it happened. I don't know. It happened when I was in New York. I lived in Brooklyn in a really old building, and I was in my roommates went to work, so I was in my bedroom for hours. And I was like, well, it's fine. I have some water, but then I really had to go to the bathroom. Like, I held it forever, and then I just grabbed that bag.
Yeah. Well, your limits. You test your limits, and then you have them, and then you have to do it. You have to survive.
I did it. And then I hooked up with an animator. This was before everybody could animate. This was out of 2002, maybe?
Right.
Yeah, like 10 years ago. So it was sort of cool to have your own animated short because not many people could do it. But now, a 6-year-old could do it on some sort of computer program.
Yeah.
But
wow.
so we made a little short about it.
But it's very well done. I mean, the animator did a great job.
Owner Tukel, yes, he's very talented.
Yeah, but now animation is something that you've gravitated towards. I mean, you've worked in animation. Mm-hmm. You worked at Warner Brothers and you worked at Mad, right? And what is it about animation that's so freeing and that's so attractive for you?
I like it because you can sort of bend reality a little bit.
Right.
But I also like it when animation is super real. And I think it's cute and adorable. And I like the combination that you can break a lot of rules. But also, if you make it as real as possible, it's just cute, I think.
Right. And this leads into, what you're doing now.
Yes.
Because you wrote a pilot, which I read, and It's really great.
Thank you.
I mean, it's a very, very good pilot.
Thank you.
And what's great about it is it has exactly what you're talking about. It has real moments and real issues surrounded by wild, crazy moments and crazy stuff going on. And the lead character, which is you, or a part of you, is really looking at stuff, like trying to make it through.
Yeah, that's what it's the 21-year-old version of me doing what I did when I was 21, but having a glimpse of perspective and self-awareness that maybe you don't get until you're older.
Right.
So I think that's what they liked about it, that, you know, she's your typical 21-year-old partying, getting in trouble, trying to finish school, but she's really aware of her issues, but she keeps messing up. She just keeps self-destructing, but she's a self-help junkie, and just the self-awareness is what I like about it.
Yeah.
You know, because like Homer is an idiot, but he's not sitting at home thinking in retrospect about all the stuff that he did wrong.
Right.
You know, he's just
Right.
like, oh,
He's-
I drank too much beer and I blew up the plant.
Right.
And then it's like the end of the episode, which is so fun. I love The Simpsons, but I think for this, I think it's cool that there's a cartoon character that is really struggling and really wants to get better, but she's not.
And really wants to get better.
Yeah.
And drinking.
Yeah.
And,
Alcoholic.
And really an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Which you've experienced.
Yes.
And I don't think there's been a lot of animated shows that have dealt with that issue.
No.
Or dealt with it as an ongoing
I
process.
feel like characters are alcoholics in in cartoons. There's drunks.
Yeah.
But they're not like, ugh, I need to quit drinking.
Right.
Yeah. So I think this is the first time, especially a woman character too.
Right.
That is a lush.
Right. And that is very interesting, and the way you touch on it too, because it's a balancing act. I mean, you look at it, but it's tempered with a lot of other stuff that's going on, so it's not the alcoholic issue episode,
Right.
but it certainly is about coming of age and and dealing with those issues.
Yeah.
So so her friend is insane, but crazy insane,
Crazy
bad
lesbian.
influence,
Yeah.
crazy. I really love it, and it's set in a restaurant. It's set in a town.
It's set in the town that I grew up in,
Which is?
in Pueblo, Colorado.
It's Pueblo, Colorado.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna keep it that
Yeah.
like say Pueblo. I hope they do, but
I love Pueblo, Colorado because you're in pamphlet heaven.
yeah, free consumer information.
Yeah, I mean that's what a great town to be
I
from.
know.
If you want anything, you're there. You don't have to
Everybody
send away
knows
for
that,
it.
and it's not in Pueblo. Where it's we don't even. We're like, where is this place? And apparently, there's a small office in an airport,
That's
like
fantastic.
the one plane airport that we have.
Fantastic. But your mom and your family they're part of a restaurant?
Yeah, they own a restaurant. Do you drop in?
Do drop in.
1201 South Santa Fe.
Do it. Plug it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pizza restaurant, and it's in the show. So, but it's more about the college life, like going to college, sort of in a crap town where kids are always like, I want to get out. I'm just gonna get out of here one day. And some people do, and some people don't. So it's one of those towns where it's livable, it's comfortable, people are nice, but there's not much opportunity unless you work at an insurance company or a restaurant, which is fine. Do what you got to do, but it's one of those it's just like that angst of like being young and wanting to do something big with your life, but not knowing how, or you don't have money, the drinking problem, the crazy family.
How did you do it?
How did I get out?
Yeah.
Well, my drinking thank God, I didn't start drinking until after college. So I finished college,
Mhm.
and then I moved to New York.
And
So I just bought a one-way ticket, and I left.
You bought a one-way ticket.
Yeah.
Not coming back.
Nope.
And went to New York to do what?
Well, I've always wanted to be a comedic actress, but I sort of kept it a secret because I had never done any performing really in school. I was an athlete and I have a business degree. So it was like I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want them to tell me, what are you doing? That's crazy, blah, blah, blah. So I kept it a secret, and then I eventually started doing stand-up a couple years after I moved to New York.
But the dream was to act.
Yes.
So now...
But now I'm obsessed with this animated series. Like, it's the only thing I care about.
But you'll voice the lead character.
I hope so.
It can't be anybody else. How could it be anybody else?
I don't know. You never know.
Is that part
I'll
of
be
the...
like, hi, I'm here to audition for my own voice.
Is that part of the deal? Is that part of the thing?
Well, we're talking about it.
Oh, my God.
No, we haven't. We're still, it's like, we're not even to that. We're like, okay, here's who's going to be executive producer, who's created, like all that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so then once that's done, we're going to be like, we want this, we want that.
Well, your partner's going to fight for you to do
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
I would
yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
Good. Well, yeah, and have you done that stuff? Have you done voice acting, voiceover stuff? Because
No.
you got a great voice for it.
No, what have I done? I've done like a few things here and there, but
Right.
nothing big. I don't have a voiceover coach
Right.
or anything.
Okay.
I can't do...
Well, you don't need one. You
I'm
should
just-
never get a voiceover coach.
I just, if I do a voiceover, it just has to be my voice because I can't do an accent or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. It's a perfect
I'm a
voice.
shitty actress and I can't do voiceovers.
That's your tape.
Oh, that's...
Your tape is
Yeah.
that. It's a confessional tape, which actually would be kind of funny.
In the show, she has a vlog, like this confessional, like it's where she pours her heart out.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's in there.
And she does, and this is an every episode thing. This is going to
think
be a
so.
thing.
Yeah.
It's her channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now, what about your family? Like, what do they think of? Are they fearful that they're going to be in this and how they're going to be portrayed, or are there thoughts about that from your end in terms of
They're
how do I temper
thrilled.
this?
They're so happy. I think my mom's relieved because I've been, taking buses to babysitting jobs lately. So the fact that this show is happening, I don't know if she's more relieved or happy, but they're excited that they're going to be in it. But I'm concerned because my brother's in it and he's gay. He seemed cool with it, but I'm like, if we put you in it, it's about you coming out in a small town. And in the show, you're sort of full of rage because you're not out yet. Like, you're still figuring out that you're gay. So it's all about your sexuality. And he's like, well, we'll talk about it. I'm like, all right. So I have to. But I talked to the showrunner guy. He's like, well, we can turn him into a friend if you don't want him to be your brother.
Sure.
There's so many questions and unanswered things. It's so new. But he's the only one I'm concerned about. My mom, she'll be cool. My sister's thrilled. I have a bald sister. She has alopecia, and she's in the show. But she's 7.
Wait,
She's 7 in it.
She's younger in the show.
Yeah, she's 24 in real life, but in the show she's 7, and she has the best attitude. She's like the most positive character in the show. So if somebody's making fun of her because she's bald, she'll give them a hug because they're obviously a miserable person, so they need a hug. Like, that's her in every situation.
That's great.
So, if somebody gets shot in the head, she'll be like, oh my God, blood is so beautiful, like, or something. I don't know. I don't think anybody's gonna get shot, but she just loves everything.
Yeah, sure.
So she's my favorite. But in real life, she's not like that. I told her, because she's like she used to be like that when she was younger, but now she's cool, but she's just like edgy and sort of like negative. And so I said, your character is like the most positive person in the world. You gotta watch her. She's like, all right.
Can she handle it?
I think she can handle it.
Did she read it?
No.
The family read it?
No.
No. Okay. Good.
I just give them little bits of information.
Right.
I don't know why, but
Amazing. It's so good. I mean, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, and you're gonna be, it's gonna be a very good show. People are gonna love this show.
thank you.
Yeah. And in terms of writing, how do you write so in such an authentic? Your voice is so strong in your writing. It's so
Thanks.
real. So how do you do that? How do
Probably,
you allow that to happen?
probably narcissism. I've never written anything else but about myself.
Right.
So I think narcissism and I don't know, it's just stuff that I have to say. And I don't know, every day I have to write. So I feel like I haven't figured anything out, but I know what I want to say and how to say it.
Right.
Um,
And you know how you work as a writer, so you know how to problem solve and get through things.
Hopefully, I have a big procrastination problem. The fact that you did 2 books. Well, you finished.
You did
the
it.
book?
You did the book.
it?
You finished it.
Cecily did 2 books. I'm like, I can't.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm worried. I'm full of fear but I think I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like they're like, when I have deadlines, I think I could do it, but I am afraid of structure, and I'm afraid of procrastination or being confused about act 1, 2, and 3. Like, because I am a little inexperienced, but everybody's being so cool, and I know that I'll have all the help that I need.
Yeah, that stuff is by rote. I mean, that stuff is that
Yeah.
you learn with practice
Right.
easily. But what you can't learn is what you have, which is the gift of being able to be real and authentic in your writing. That's something that not everybody has. That very few people have that. Very few people who are writers have that.
Well, I don't. Just keep writing about yourself.
You have to keep writing. Right, you have to keep writing.
Be like, I don't know. Just
Write about
yourself.
your
Start every sentence with I. No.
That's the book that comes out.
Yeah.
She should do that. She should have a character. She should have how you should do a vlog. And it should be, here's what you do. I'm going to teach you what to do. Girls
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
Because Phil Rosenthal, who's a friend, and a great writer, he always says this. He says, it's easier than making things up? Writing things down. It's so much easier. Write them down.
Yeah.
And if something doesn't ring true, don't do it. Don't come from that place. You have great dreams. You're a dreamer. You may say I'm a dreamer. I'm not the only one. No, but you have great dreams, and I'm going to make you, because you use it on stage sometimes too in your act, the trail mix dream.
Oh.
I think I'm going to make you tell, because you'll see that this is not your everyday dream.
It's so funny. Like I'm on Twitter all the time, and everybody jokes about how they hate to hear about dreams. They're like, if you're gonna tell me about your dream, I'm gonna shoot myself in the head. Like everybody is a dream hater.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather hear about someone's dream.
So much
than
more interesting.
Them, like,
So much more
talk
interesting.
about how they sat in traffic. But anyway. Thank you for asking me about my dreams.
Yeah.
So the trail mix dream. It might not be as funny because the trail mix is already out there. But
I know. I blew the lead.
It's okay.
It shouldn't be called the trail mix dream.
It's okay.
Forget it. That it's trail mix dream.
Yeah. Men in Black, like that little thing that makes you
The zapper.
The zapper. I had a dream that I was making out with a friend of mine, this guy that's in my life, and I'm not attracted to him. I don't think he's attracted to me. We're just really good friends. And in my dream, I'm making out with him, and when he takes off my underwear, a bunch of trail mix fell out.
Now, what kind of mix is it? Is it
It's the good kind. It's like almonds, peanuts, cashews, raisins, chocolate chips, like just pouring out of my underwear. Now, I don't know if they were just like stashed in my underwear or if they were coming out, like if I was like peeing them out.
We're not sure.
But it was just like pouring out. And in my dream, it was like, it was something I was familiar with. So it must have been a thing.
Not
that
a surprise to you.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was something that I did all the time because I was like, oh, you forgot about the trail mix. You're either supposed to warn them or take it out. And so it was like, I was really mad at myself. And then he grabbed my face and he looked me in my eyes and he said, perfect. And then that's all I remember.
Wow. And that was
That was my
that's a
trauma
trail mix
stream.
dream. And it's good to not interpret that, because a dream analyst would say, the trail mix represents your journey through your life. And of course, if it's nature mix, then it's your own nature, and if there's a bear there, it's about your soul.
Well, who knows?
We
well,
don't know.
I eat trail mix almost every day, so I know it's like on my mind.
So we're saying it's part of you that accepts yourself for who you are, even if there's a river of trail mix at your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sure. Now, has there been anything else? Do you have recurring? Anything else happening?
My recurring dream is so boring. There was a site when I was a kid. I grew up on the street, and the sidewalk in front of the house had like a crack in it, but the cement was uneven, and I used to trip on it all the time when I was walking. I'd be like, I can't. So in my dream, there's that freaking sidewalk, and I'm falling, and then I wake up before I hit. But there's the sidewalk in front of my childhood house that I'm constantly tripping on.
Wow.
That's pretty deep.
That's a deep dream.
I mean, it's boring, but if you think about it, it's pretty deep.
Deep childhood. Deep childhood. Right. Yeah. If a guy with a pipe was sitting and it was analogous. I don't know if you've ever been in therapy.
Yes, and I lied about everything.
Did you lie about everything?
Yes.
See, that's surprising to me, because it's pretty easy for you. It seems pretty easy for you to be real about this.
Well,
things.
that's before I quit drinking.
There you go.
So it was like,
what would you go in? You'd say, what are some of the, you go in and it's
well,
like,
I would
what's-
talk about how much I drank, and then she would ask me about it, like, how's your drinking? And I'd say, oh, fine, I haven't had any for a while. But I was probably still drunk from the night before. So it was mostly about my drinking. And then I was in love with this guy who wasn't in love with me, and then I would say I would end it, but I wouldn't. So when she asked me about it, I would, play it off.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why. I don't know. I guess I just didn't want to be aware of the truth, I guess.
Yeah.
So I lied.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about therapy is that it takes place in an office. So nobody follows you home.
Right.
And where therapy should take place is there should be someone sitting in your house.
Exactly.
And they should follow you wherever you go and take notes.
Yes.
And film you with a camera so you can see your own behavior. I mean, that would be therapy. But you can't do that.
That's a good idea. That could be a new practice.
Well, I'm trying to institute that. I mean, I have a show. I mean, I think that's the problem with therapy, is that it takes place in an office. Because no one is themselves in an office.
Right.
That's just how it is.
And
There's a
it's your own perspective, too, like how you see it, which most likely isn't the truth.
Yeah. And now, was there a moment or an experience or something where you said, you really turned the corner and you said, I've got a drinking problem, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to get help?
I said that probably for about 5 years before I actually quit drinking. I knew it was bad, but I wasn't ready to stop. So I did a bunch of years of trying to control it, and then I would just go on these benders where I didn't even think about it. I was just like, I'm getting shit-faced, I don't care. And then, so it was just years of controlled drinking, but then when I did finally stop, I woke up one morning and had a moment of clarity, and it was crazy. I woke up after a night. I drank a lot the night before, and I did Coke, which I don't like Coke, but I couldn't get drunk enough, so I just did all this Coke, and I just was like, oh, just snorting it all night. And then the next morning I woke up and I was like, if I keep drinking, I'm never gonna live my dreams or it just was. It was just like, if I keep drinking, my life's gonna be horrible. If I stop drinking, I have a shot. It wasn't a very profound message. It was just like the obvious, but I was so clear, and I felt like I was suspended in reality, and tears started rolling down my face, and I haven't had a drink since. That was 5.5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that was a moment. There was a particular moment.
that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
And you go to meetings, and you go and you get support.
Yes. I feel I've gone to meetings and I haven't gone to meetings, and I just feel better when I do go.
Mm-hmm.
Because people get real honest, you know, and they're so kind. You can call anybody and just, and it's cool to, because you feel so lonely. You feel crazy and you feel lonely, and to know that a bunch of people feel like that makes me feel better.
Sure.
Yeah.
You always think that you're alone. That's
Yeah.
that's like the thought in the head, is that you're separate from other people,
Yeah.
which is the biggest lie, really. Always.
Yeah. So many people feel like that.
Yeah. It's only happening to me. It can't be anybody else. I'm the only
Yeah.
person, and not only that, but I'm separate. There's something not right
Right.
about it, about me.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not a good feeling.
Not a good feeling. And anybody that's listening that has that feeling right now, stop it.
Yeah.
You could just make a different choice, because it's not true.
It's not true.
You can identify lies that way. You can actually identify. You know that every time this thing comes up, this separate thing, there's that separate thing again. That's my brain. That's not my spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's not who I am. That's a thought. Anyway, I wish I could do that. Maybe I'll do it now. Nope. Well, now, okay, so the show and the writing and stuff like that, do you think it's easy for you to handle success? Will it be easy for you to do?
I don't know. I've never been successful.
Well, that's probably not, you know what? That's really not, going 5 years, that's a level of success that...
I think I'm ready now, more now than I have. I'm expecting good things to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still like, even, because the deal, the deal is happening.
Right.
But it's not completely, even though I know it's happening.
Yeah.
But I'm still like, well, what if it doesn't happen? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But then I could stop myself and being like, this is going to be great. I could at least brainwash myself for a little bit with positive stuff.
Right.
So I feel like I'm better. But years ago, I thought that I had sold a show, a different version of this show. It was right before the writer's strike happened.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meeting, they were like, yeah, we want to do it. This is great. Congratulations. And I went on a bender. I was making crazy phone calls. I was sending crazy emails. So it's funny to see the same thing, that like, congratulations, we're going to do this, and I'm just being chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully I'm ready, and hopefully I don't, I don't know, but I hope I am, and I feel good.
Excellent.
So we'll see.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited for you. I really am, and that's why I brought the wallets.
I
brought the wallets. Wait, now
you should tell them your nephew.
Oh yeah, my nephew, who's going to be bar mitzvah this weekend, actually does.
He makes cool
he makes
wallets.
really cool duct tape wallets. And if you're interested in one, I'll make a photo of it. I'll put it up on the website. And
I think they're awesome.
They're pretty amazing. I have one. I have like a couple, and I talk to them at night. And I'm not separate. No, but he's really great. His name is Ari Pine. He's very talented. That whole family is very talented. His brother Oren wrote a theme song. He's a jazz musician. They're great.
Oh,
Those kids are
cool.
great. At any rate, and my daughter is too. My daughter Shayna is an amazing storyteller at the age of 8, and a terrific little actress actually. But she's not performery.
Oh yeah.
But she just has it. You can just see it. And she said to me, you know, I took her to. I've told the story many times before, but I love it. I took her to see a kids comedy show at Flappers, and it was called Two Milk Minimum.
Uh-oh.
And it was a real show. No, it was really good.
I've seen that poster there.
No, it's a real show, and they have grown-ups performing, and they also have kids performing, not doing stand-up, but like bands and stuff like that. It's great. Ron Lynch was in it, like friends of ours do it, and it's great. So she sees the show, and she says to me at the end of the show, not a performery kid, she said, "Daddy, I think we should do an act." I said, "Really? What's the act?" She says, "You make mistakes, and I correct you."
Oh my gosh.
So she gets what comedy is. I mean, she gets what that is.
Yeah.
So then we started doing a little act where I would come out and I'd say, "This is Shane, and we should introduce the show. Would you? This is Shayna," and she says, "And this is my dad." And I say, "You know, honey, I love being your dad, but I really think that it would be better for the act if we called it the Shane and Ed show. So let's do it again. We'll come out." She says, "Yeah, and this is my dad." And then I pull her over to the side of the stage and I say, "We talked about this at home. You want to be a professional? Is that what you want? Because you're killing us." And it's just, she just dies. She just cracks up, and then I try to sing, and I sing it wrong. And anyway, it's really fun.
Cute.
Yeah, anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah. So let's look for you, too, because your tweet, a lot of people on Twitter, it's not very exciting to read. But you do these little mini versions of your life in a tweet. Like your storytelling in a tweet, and there's a lot in there, and you have this art form, and so it's at Amber Tozer.
Yes.
And then you did this sketch show that was based on people's tweets, which you would never think about. It's a good concept.
Oh yes, Nitwits. Hashtag Nitwits. Yeah, we take tweets and we turn them into sketches, and we filmed 32 of them. We haven't done one in a while, but they're up on Funny or Die right now. Funny or Die picked them up, so
it's great.
Yeah.
So you see Pepitone, you see all kinds of people.
Danny Zucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, all right. Well, listen, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming all the way down here.
Me.
And this is, this is the Self-Help Comedy Hour. This has been a great show. I want to thank everybody who's been on the show. I want to thank Robin Roberts. Fantastic. I want to thank Cecily Knobler and Amber Tozer. And I want to thank Jason Tanner for letting me be here. The Self-Help Comedy Hour is heard each and every week on WreckingBallRadio.net. I want to thank Justin Wise on sound tonight and each and every night for helping me put the show together. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. I'm Ed Crasnick. Have a great week. Yeah. Right on.